Ohio woman who injected her husband with a tranquilizer to keep him from seeing their kids is sentenced. In a quiet town in Auglaize County, Ohio, a shocking crime unfolded that would forever change the lives of many. This is the story of Amanda Hovanec, a mother of 3, who made choices that led her down a dark path. At first glance, Amanda and her husband, Timothy Hovanec, seemed like any ordinary family. They had 3 children, each a bright spark of joy in their lives, and moved several times for Timothy's job with the U.S. Department of State, including an assignment in South Africa around 2018. Their life was filled with the typical joys and challenges of parenthood, school events, family dinners, and the occasional adventure in a new country. However, beneath the surface of their seemingly normal life lay a turbulent relationship marked by jealousy, betrayal, and a thirst for freedom that would ultimately lead to tragedy. During their time in South Africa, Amanda met Anthony Theodoro, a charismatic South African citizen whose charm captivated her in a way that Timothy no longer could. What began as innocent flirtation quickly spiraled into a passionate affair, pulling Amanda deeper into a web of deceit. In the vibrant landscapes of South Africa, Amanda felt alive for the first time in years. The spark of romance ignited between them, intoxicating her with the thrill of escape. As their relationship blossomed, so did Amanda's desire to break free from the confines of her marriage, leading her to contemplate choices that would have dire consequences. By the time they returned to the United States, the cracks in Amanda and Timothy's marriage were too deep to mend. The emotional distance between them had grown into a chasm, fueled by Amanda's growing resentment and Timothy's determination to hold their family together. He sensed the changes in her, the way she would look at her phone with a guarded expression or the late nights spent away from home under dubious pretenses. Each day became a battle, not just for the custody of their children but for the very soul of their family. In 2020, Amanda initiated divorce proceedings against Timothy, and this marked the beginning of a bitter custody battle that would draw out the darkest sides of both parents. As tensions rose and emotions flared, Amanda began to deny Timothy visitation rights to their children, blatantly ignoring a court order that mandated he be allowed to see them. It was as if she was trying to erase him from their lives completely, her actions driven by a desire for control and revenge. Each refusal only fueled Timothy's determination to fight for his rights as a father. He felt the walls closing in around him, and each denied visit was a stab to his heart, pushing him to file several contempt motions against Amanda. The courtroom became a battleground, filled with heated exchanges and emotional outbursts. Timothy fought valiantly, hoping to reclaim the bond with his children that Amanda was trying to sever. But Amanda's heart had hardened. She was blinded by her ambition and desperate to protect her new life, whatever the cost. The once happy family began to unravel, leaving behind a trail of pain and confusion that would haunt them for years to come. As the divorce proceedings dragged on, the stakes grew higher, and so did the tension. Amanda's frustration boiled over, and it became increasingly clear that she was willing to do whatever it took to rid herself of Timothy once and for all. Little did anyone know, the darkest chapter of their story was yet to unfold. In April 2022, after a series of grueling legal battles, Timothy finally gained ground in the custody fight that had consumed his life. A judge ruled in his favor, ordering that he would be the primary caretaker of their children for 2 months that summer. This decision brought Timothy a glimmer of hope, a chance to reclaim his role as a father, a chance to reconnect with his children who had been so cruelly kept from him. He envisioned joyous weekends filled with laughter, bonding over board games, cooking meals together, and creating memories that would last a lifetime. The thought of camping trips, movie nights, and simply being together filled his heart with anticipation. But unbeknownst to him, Amanda had other plans. Dark plans that twisted her sense of desperation into a chilling resolve. Her heart, once filled with love and compassion, had become a fortress of resentment and anger. The prospect of Timothy spending more time with their children ignited a primal fear within her. A fear that she would lose control, lose her grip on the life she envisioned for herself and her lover, Anthony Theodoro. The weekend of April 24, 2022, marked a pivotal moment in this tragic story. Timothy picked up the kids, excitement bubbling within him as he planned a day full of fun and adventure.
They spent the day laughing and playing, sharing stories, and indulging in the simple joys of life. It was everything he had hoped for, and as the sun began to set, he felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude. However, after a joyful day filled with laughter, Timothy returned them to Amanda's home, blissfully unaware of the sinister plot that awaited him. The atmosphere was charged with tension as Timothy arrived at Amanda's house, his heart full of hope, but also a hint of apprehension. "I have a surprise for you inside," he cheerfully called to the children, unaware that those would be the last words anyone would hear from him. The joy in his voice masked the dark undercurrents swirling just beneath the surface. As Timothy approached the house, Amanda and her mother, Anita Green, were waiting outside, their faces painted with a deceptive calm that belied the storm brewing within. The tension hung heavy in the air, a palpable force that seemed to thicken with every passing moment. The dashcam footage from Timothy's car would later capture the chilling moments as the situation escalated. "What the heck are you doing? Did you just assault me?" Timothy shouted, confusion and fear evident in his voice as the atmosphere shifted from hopeful to hostile almost instantly. Amanda's demeanor transformed, her eyes hardening as she lunged at him with a ferocity that took him by surprise. She pulled on his shirt, trying to wrestle him into submission as he desperately reached for his cell phone to call for help. The struggle unfolded in real time, the dashcam recording every frantic second. Timothy fought valiantly to maintain his composure, his instincts screaming at him to escape, to protect himself. He grappled with Amanda, but her determination was fueled by a chilling resolve. In a moment that seemed to stretch into eternity, Amanda overpowered him, pulling him down to the ground. Timothy's bewilderment turned to horror as he realized the depths of Amanda's intentions. The struggle intensified, each movement a desperate plea for survival. "Get away from me, get off of me," he shouted, his voice echoing the panic that gripped his heart. But Amanda's grip was relentless, her mind fixated on her dark goal. In that moment, a father's hope clashed with a mother's malevolence, and the consequences of their choices would ripple through the lives of everyone involved. Seconds later, Timothy was left lying limp on the driveway, his body unresponsive and still. The once vibrant man who had fought so hard for his family now lay defeated, a victim of Amanda's cold-blooded intentions. Amanda stood up, her chest heaving as she processed the reality of what she had just done. The adrenaline coursed through her veins, a cocktail of triumph and terror as she collected his cell phone and smartwatch from the ground. In those chilling moments, she moved with calculated calmness, her mind racing with thoughts of how to escape the consequences of her actions. With a steady hand, she turned off Timothy's vehicle's engine, effectively stopping the dashcam recording that had captured the horrifying encounter. The silence that followed felt oppressive, a stark contrast to the chaos that had just erupted moments before. The chilling calm after the storm only hinted at the horror that had just transpired. It was a moment of eerie tranquility, as if the world itself was holding its breath in anticipation of what was to come. In the aftermath of the violent confrontation, Amanda attempted to cover her tracks, believing she could outsmart the law. She meticulously planned her next moves, trying to erase every trace of the crime. But the investigation soon unraveled her web of lies. Timothy's abandoned car was discovered in Dayton, a seemingly innocuous detail that would lead investigators to uncover the truth. Equipped with a dashcam, the vehicle held damning evidence of the events that had transpired that fateful night. As law enforcement officials reviewed the footage, they were horrified by what they saw. It became evident that Amanda had plotted this murder for over a year, her mind racing with various schemes to rid herself of her husband. The details of her cold calculation unfolded before their eyes. She had even considered hiring a hitman, a chilling thought that spoke volumes about her state of mind. Yet, ultimately, she settled on injecting him with M99, a potent tranquilizer used in veterinary medicine, known for being approximately 1,000 times stronger than morphine. The depths of Amanda's cold-blooded actions shocked investigators. They learned that she had injected Timothy in the shoulder, fully aware that the drug would kill him within minutes. The realization that a mother could so easily betray the father of her children sent shockwaves through the community and the investigation team. It was a premeditated act, one that revealed the darkest corners of her soul. After the deed was done, Amanda and Anthony buried Timothy's body in
a secluded wooded area, believing they could escape justice. They thought they had covered their tracks, but in reality, the truth was just beginning to surface. The investigators, piecing together the evidence, would soon unravel the sinister plot, exposing the chilling reality behind the facade of a loving mother. As the story unfolded, it became clear that Amanda's actions would haunt her, leading to a reckoning she could never have anticipated. Amanda wasn't alone in her dark endeavor. Anthony Theodoro, her lover, played a pivotal role in the horrifying plot, not only in procuring the deadly drug, but also in helping her dispose of Timothy's body. Their affair had transformed from a passionate romance into a twisted partnership, bound by a shared goal that would forever alter their lives. Anthony was not just a bystander. He was deeply complicit, providing the means and the motivation for Amanda's chilling decision. Together, they meticulously planned every detail, convinced that they could evade the consequences of their actions. Equally complicit was Anita, Amanda's mother, who turned a blind eye to her daughter's malevolent intentions. Knowing about the plot, she agreed to drive Amanda and Anthony to the pre-dug gravesite, fully aware of the gruesome task that lay ahead. The realization that such betrayal could come from one's family is chilling, leaving investigators and the community stunned. A mother aiding her daughter in committing murder? It was a horror no one could fathom. When law enforcement pieced together the evidence, the truth came crashing down like a house of cards. The dashcam footage, witness statements, and forensic evidence painted a damning picture of betrayal and deceit. As the investigation unfolded, Amanda's facade of a grieving wife crumbled, and she was faced with the reality of her choices. In a moment of desperation, she confessed to detectives, detailing how she had injected Timothy with what she referred to as poison. Her chilling lack of remorse sent shockwaves through the room as she recounted the methodical nature of her actions. It was a stark contrast to the loving mother she had portrayed to the world. The gravity of her choices weighed heavily on the community, which grappled with the loss of an innocent father and the shattered lives left behind. Timothy's children were now left without their father and faced a future tainted by tragedy. Friends, neighbors, and family members were left to pick up the pieces of their lives, reeling from the knowledge that someone they trusted could commit such a heinous act. The horror of the situation rippled through the community, leaving everyone to question how such darkness could reside in a person they once thought they knew. In October 2023, Amanda was sentenced to 40 years in prison by U.S. District Judge James R. Knepp II after pleading guilty to multiple charges, including distributing a controlled substance that resulted in Timothy's death. As the judge delivered the sentence, the weight of Amanda's actions hung heavily in the air, a sobering reminder of the consequences of betrayal. She was also ordered to serve 10 years of supervised release and pay restitution totaling $2,108,559.36. This staggering figure highlighted not only the financial implications of her actions, but also the emotional devastation they caused. The community's trust had been shattered, and the scars of this tragedy would linger long after the gavel struck. As Amanda was led away, the reality of her choices settled in. Her life, once filled with the joys of motherhood, was now a dark tale of betrayal, loss, and irrevocable consequences. The chilling legacy of her actions would serve as a grim reminder of how quickly love can turn to hatred, and how the darkest secrets can hide behind a familiar face. Anthony was sentenced to 18 years in prison for his role in the tragic events, while Anita, Amanda's mother, faced 10 years for being an accessory after the fact. As the judge delivered the sentences, the courtroom was filled with palpable tension, the weight of their choices hanging heavily in the air. Each tick of the clock felt like a reminder of the lives forever changed by their actions. Family members of Timothy sat in silence, tears streaming down their faces as they grappled with the harsh reality of their loss. They had come seeking justice, but the sentences felt like a mere drop in the ocean of grief that now enveloped them. The children, innocent victims in all of this, faced a future forever altered by their mother's betrayal. They were left to navigate a world marked by loss and uncertainty, robbed of the love and stability they so desperately needed. While other children would be playing with their parents and creating cherished memories, these kids would grow up with the haunting knowledge that their mother had chosen to murder their father. The burden of that knowledge would weigh heavily on their young hearts and minds, shaping
their perceptions of trust, love, and family in ways they could not yet comprehend. This story serves as a haunting reminder of how despair can lead to devastating decisions. Amanda's descent into darkness was not just an individual failure. It was a failure that rippled outwards, impacting everyone in its wake. It underscores the importance of making choices that protect loved ones instead of destroying them. Families should be havens of safety and love, not breeding grounds for fear and violence. The chilling realization that betrayal can arise from those we trust the most leaves an indelible mark on the community, creating an atmosphere of distrust and fear where once there was love and camaraderie. In the end, the story of Amanda Hovanec stands as a cautionary tale, forcing us to confront the uncomfortable truths about love, loyalty, and the consequences of our actions. Choices matter, and sometimes those choices can change everything. As the dust settles, one question lingers in the minds of those left behind. What could have been different if only Amanda had chosen a path of love and understanding instead of one paved with darkness? The answer remains elusive, echoing through the empty spaces where laughter once filled the rooms. A somber reminder that every decision carries weight and every action has consequences. The legacy of this tragedy serves as a stark warning to others, urging reflection on the importance of empathy, communication, and the sanctity of family bonds. It calls for a deeper understanding of the struggles that can lead individuals to dark places and the need for support systems that can prevent such heart-wrenching outcomes. In a world that can often feel chaotic and unforgiving, it's crucial to remember that love, compassion, and understanding can light even the darkest paths, preventing others from making choices that lead to irreversible tragedy.